Sandy here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm sharing the tutorial on how to make my box pocket folio that I designed for Country Craft Creations using Cartabella's Summer Market paper collection. Before we get started on this project, I thought I'd quickly show you the products that I'm using from Country Craft Creations. What you will need, of course, for adhesive, I'm going to use art glitter glue that you can order from Country Craft Creations. And I'm going to also use full-size scor-tape sheets. And you might also want a roll of 3/8 inch or 1/4 inch scor-tape for assembling the cover. So we're going to use that. And of course I've got my decorative pack of ribbons and puppy stickers, as well as the enamel dots. And let's see, let me open this up real quick. I have showed this in my design team package reveal, but some of you might not have seen that. I've also got adhesive brads here. So we've got the adhesive brads from the collection, as well as the puppy stickers, Echo Park enamel dots, any enamel dots with the colors that come in the collection. I have black seam binding ribbon, yellow, and the red check. So that's my decorative elements that I have that I'm going to be working with for this project. And I am going to be using the Craft Color Artisan Cardstock. I have a full package here. Should not need a full package. I'll try to keep track of how many pages I'm actually using and post it in the description down below. So this is from Country Craft Creations. It's a very strong, nice, heavyweight cardstock. So we're going to use that. I'm going to use the Cardabella Summer Market collection. I'm not going to go through all this because I did show it before. I have one sheet of each from the collection. That includes 2 cut apart sheets. So I'm just going to fan this out so you can kind of see the beautiful colors, the florals and the fruits and the icons like the bikes, borders. And this is double-sided, so when I flip it over, you're going to see some more beautiful patterns here. Love the campers. These colors are beautiful. It's kind of like a clapboard wood. Some stripe, yellow check. Lots of pretty florals to work with. So this is going to be a really nice summer album to work with. And then I also received Simple Stories at the time of starting this tutorial. I do not find it on Country Craft's website. This may be something that's coming in. It's called Color Vibe, so you want to keep checking back for that. Any solid cardstocks will work to complement those colors. These have dots on one side and solids on the other, so there's a lot of pretty spring colors, summer colors in there. You're going to need some chipboard. In my package I received 2 8.5 by 11, or you can cut down 12 by 12, be cutting down the size. I'll be giving the size for the measurements on that. So that's the supplies I'll be working with. I'm going to use a Crocodile Corner Chomper by We Are Memory Keepers that has the scallop and the stub. I'm going to be using that, as well as these little scissors from We Are Memory Keepers. This is detail scissors, so I might do a little fussy cutting with that. So also your scoreboard, your 12 by 12 scoreboard, scoring tool, your bone folder, ruler, pencil, and your trimmer. So let's get started. Okay, I have all my pieces cut. I'm going to share with you what I cut and what each one's for. I ended up using 10 sheets of the Artisan Kraft Cardstock for this project. And I had quite a bit of scraps left over that you want to save in case you need them for pockets or add-ons, maybe some flips or flaps. I'll decide as I go. Maybe some photo mats or things to tuck in your pockets, some tags and things. So these are your scraps left over after you cut it out of 10 sheets of the 12 by 12. Now, you do want to cut your inside pages or components first so that you have some scraps that you can use for a couple of pieces that are for the cover. so that we're not having to use extra paper. So let me go through these real quick for you. You're going to need 2 for the outer main flaps of your right-hand side of your folio. And I'll cut both of these the same, and they are 7 inches wide by 7.5 tall. Now I suggest that you label your pieces with a pencil so you can erase it. If you have to put it in the center, shouldn't even have to erase it, or use a little sticky note. I sometimes use sticky notes, but I'm out of them for right now. So 2 outer main flaps, that's how I labeled mine, 7 wide by 7.5 tall. Then we need 2 side flaps that go on the right side of our folio. These are both cut at 7 wide by 7.5 tall. So yes, that is the same size. So we actually need 4, but I like to label what they're for so I know as I'm assembling. Then I have what I call add-on flaps. So you want 2 that are 5 inches wide by 7.5 tall. I will put a cut guide down in the bottom in the description, or there'll be a link to a PDF file. Just depends on what I get done. So there'll be a cut list that you can also follow along with. Then for the box pocket, which goes into the right-hand side, you need 1 that is 7.5 wide by 5 inches tall. Now these will be scored, and I will give you those as I'm scoring them, those measurements. For the right inside base, we need a piece that's 6 inches wide by 7.5 inches tall. Okay, next we're going to cut component pieces for the left side of our folio. So we need another piece that's the same as the one we just cut for the left side. So I'll label it left inside base, 6 inches wide by 7.5 inches tall. We need a closures. And these, you cut 2. This is for the left side. 2 that are 6 inches wide by 8.5 inches tall. Then we're going to have 6 stacking photo mats. This is going to be, cut 6 of these, 6 inches wide by 4.5 inches tall. So I have 6 of those. Stacking photo mats. Now I have a piece here that got out of order. This goes on the right side, so you need your top and bottom pocket flaps. You're going to need 6 inches wide by 5.5 tall, so that goes with the right side. Then you're going to go ahead and cut your chipboard and the cardstock to wrap. So you need 2 pieces of chipboard that's 6 1/4 inches by 7 3/4 inches. Then go ahead from cardstock. You'll need a full sheet, 2 full sheets. You're going to cut 2 that are 8 1/4 by 9 3/4. This is to give us a 1 inch around all the edges or more. Probably 1 inch, should be 1 inch. So you need 2 cardstocks that size, which was the 8 1/4 by 9 3/4, and 2 chipboards that are 6 1/4 by 7 3/4. That's the cover. Then for the spine section, you need 1 chipboard, 1 3/4 by 7 3/4. Then you need your cardstock paper to wrap it to be 3 3/4. So I add 2 inches each direction by 9 3/4. So that's the cover. Then you're also going to need a piece, and this cut from scraps. You need for the inside spine area, it needs to be 5 inches wide by 7 3/4 tall. Now this one I will put scor-tape sheets on. I've already added scor-tape sheets onto the back side of my chipboard pieces. So we're going to get ready to assemble now. We'll start with the album cover first. For the album cover, we're going to use the Easy Album Wrap designed by Tammy of Country Craft Creation. So if you've already seen that before, then you're probably familiar with that. You do want 2 pieces of scrap chipboard that are cut. I have one that is 11 inches by 1 inch wide and 12 inches by 1 inch wide to help with the placement. So you take your piece of cardstock that is cut to, get the measurements here. I didn't write it on there. It is cut to 8 1/4. Double checks. Yes, 8 1/4 by 9 3/4. So I'm just going to lay it here, butt it up against this, the edge of my score pal, and then I take these 1-inch strips. I'm going to lay the 12-inch one down first, the top, and then my 11-inch here at the bottom. So this gives us the space for our 1-inch. Now, if this is your chipboard piece, that's 6 1/4 by 7 3/4. Like I said, I've already added the score tape. You can use glue if you want to, or score tape sheets like I have here, or strips of score tape. But you just want to get it on really good. So this is a really quick and easy way. You can get these score tape sheets from Country Craft Creations. So just butt this up to the chipboard template pieces, or spacers, and just place it down. And I'm going to turn it over and burnish that. Make sure it stays. So that's one piece down, quick and easy. So as you see, it has nice spacing all the way around to wrap that cover. So go ahead and do the second one the same way. This is your front and back covers. I used scraps of my score tape sheet on this, so I have several to peel off on this one. Because I keep all the little different scraps so that I'm not wasting any of it. Oops. Okay, we do the spine piece the same way. This piece is cut 3 3/4 by 9 3/4 also. So put it in this way. Go ahead and get your placement guides in. Peel off your score tape. And place this in. And we can put these spacers away. We don't need them anymore. Turn this over and burnish it. Okay, so let's wrap our covers first. I'm going to do one with you. For some reason, I cut this one too long, so I'm going to trim off about half an inch. I don't know why. I cut that one half an inch longer. Okay, there it is. It's the right size now. So just fold up, or you can do it by standing it up. Just get your crease on all your cardstock edges. Now for this, I do use the art glitter glue. Before that, I'm going to miter my corners. Several ways that you can miter, whichever is comfortable for you. You can do the angle cut. You can cut out the square corners, which is what Tamara does. I like to use my mitering tool, which is a metal piece, and you just lay it on here. Grab your knife, craft knife, and just slice that off right up against the edge there. So that gives me about 1/8 of an inch from the tip of the chipboard to the straight edge there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on all 4 sides here. And I'm going to show you wrapping this one, and then the second one will be done the same way, but I'll do that off camera. So I like to take the long sides first. Like I said, I'm going to use glue. It's running here. So you put your glue, I put glue along the edge of the chipboard and then the rest of the way here. Fold it over and press it down. And you're going to have some glue coming out. So take a dry cloth. This is a shop towel. You can use a dry baby wipe. Wipe off that excess glue that's coming out. Burnish it down. When you burnish it, you're going to get more glue. If you use too much, I use too much on this one, I think. But you can get it all out and get it really smooth there. Also smooth on the edges. You go ahead and do the other side. So I put some glue along the edge. Fold that over. Go ahead and burnish. And again, when the glue comes out, you're on the ends, just wipe that off. Okay. Now then, you will take tool, bone folder, your fingernail, where this overextends, this side here overextends into this one. You're going to want to make sure that you have pushed it in and flatten it down. Do that with this tip. You can use your bone folder also, but you want to make sure that it's nice and flattened down so that when you fold it over, just double check that you have that corner nice and neat. So I'm going to do all 4 of these. Go ahead and get that in. Press it down really flat. And double check to make sure. Double check to make sure that it is down correctly. So go ahead and take your glue. Now go ahead and along the edge of the chipboard, then add your glue. Put it over. Burnish. Get that excess glue off. So it should be nice. Finish there on the corners. Go ahead and do the other side same way. Put that over, press it down, and then burnish. So there's that one wrapped, and I'll do the other one already. Set those aside, grab your spine one. This is a little bit different. If you have watched the Tamara's video, you know how to do that. So we're going to first fold this, the ends over. We're not doing the sides. Those are going to be left as wings, what I call wings, to attach them to the covers. So first you want to glue these down. So I put glue right here along the chipboard and then along these flaps here at the top. Just bring it over, burnish it down. Now you want to make sure you take your bone folder and you burnish right up against the chipboard here. You're going to have an indentation. Kind of press that in there like that. The other side as well. In there good and burnish really good. Do both sides the same. Bring that over, burnish it, get it right up against the chipboard so you have an indentation on both sides. Press it down, get excess glue out. Okay, next we're going to put down some score tape. I'm just going to use a 1/4 inch tape from one end, and I'm not going to put it exactly up against it, but just about a 1/16 of an inch from the end, from the edge of the chipboard. So you've got this tape on here, and you've got this little gap right there. I do that because I don't like glue or the tape showing when I bend the spine. Okay, go ahead and burnish the tapes down so that they're easier to pull the backing off. And then next you're going to take your scissors. Oops, let me use a different, bigger scissor, a little bit bigger. So turn this over. I'm going to go ahead and fold it so I can see my line. So you're going to turn this so that your chipboard's down here. Put your scissor in at the base up against the chipboard and just make a little angle cut. Now this other one, you're going to have to turn it over so that you're looking at it from the front side. Put this into the base and just trim. Then you're going to do this on the other side as well. Turn it over. Put that up to the base of the chipboard. Trim it off. Turn this over. Catch the other side. Same thing. Okay, so now we have those angled. Take your bone folder and burnish right here along the chipboard. Kind of break the fibers down all along the whole length, both directions on both sides. Turn it over and do it from the front side, the finished side. Just get a really good burnish in there up against that. You want a good indentation that you can see, but don't poke through your paper. Use your curved part of your bone folder to do that. Back and forth. So you should really be able to see that chipboard indentation like this. Let me see if I can turn it. Okay. Now we're ready to attach it to our covers. I'm just going over it a little bit more. Really want to make sure that it has a good bend in there. Okay, so this is what's different. You're going to lay it down. You know what? Put the tape on the wrong side. I do use that nearly almost every time. I'm going to leave that there. That's okay. Let's take our tape again. You want it on the front side, the finished side. So I'm just going to put it in here and take that off on the end. The brain wants to work one way, or it thinks that something should be a certain way, and that's the way it does it. Okay. So this is where we want the tape because that's where the glue is going to go. I know it seems strange. This is where it's going to attach. This we'll use later when we put our other piece on. So pull one side off the backing. You're going to take your glue. We're just going to put it here on the side. I like to use the glue because it is really strong, but you don't put it over your score tape. Take one of your covers. You're going to attach unfinished side down onto this one. Line them up, put them right up together, even at the top and the bottom as best you can. Turn it over and burnish. my other side, same thing. Some glue. Too much there. Take your other cover and the same thing, push it right up against it. That indentation is right up against the chipboard, chipboard to chipboard. And burnish. Okay, so see, it will bend. Now with this side facing up, we're going to take this one and I'm going to off camera add my score tape. Finish the inside of our album cover. Take your piece of cardstock that you cut out that is 5 inches wide by 7 3/4 tall and add your score tape. Now you can add strips of score tape, but you want it completely covered, or you can use score tape sheets, which I'm using the sheets. You don't want to use glue because you don't want any chance of it bringing any air where the glue is when it folds, that it will buckle or bubble up. So you want to make sure this is completely down flat. I'm going to move my mat so it's down on the table flat. So go ahead and take your, this is going to fit down right in here, right between the edges, and you're going to center it over this the best you can. You want to make sure that both of these are covered. So we're going to take the tape that I accidentally put on the wrong side off. It doesn't hurt that there's going to be tape to tape, so that's fine. And then go ahead and peel this one off. And we're just going to line this up. Just eyeballing it to center it. It's going to go right along the edge of this cover. I'm going to double check. Yeah, make sure it's straight there on the top edge and the bottom. So now we want to burnish this in really good. Make sure that tape sticks down well. And then we're going to bend this and burnish in there. Take my other bone folder with a rounded tip and burnish right in that fold. What that does, it presses that cardstock with the score tape on the back, presses it down into that seam where we're going to fold, right where the bend is. And there we bend it up. And there's the cover for our album. Just make sure everything is burnished in really good. Everything is stuck down. Okay, so that's the cover. So now we're ready to work on the inside sections of our folio. To assemble the left inside portion of our folio, so this is going to be what's going here on this left side. We're going to assemble that first and put that in the book. So you want your pieces that you labeled left inside base, which is 6 inches wide by 7.5 tall. You want your 2 closure pieces. I know they look big for a closure, but we're going to do some scoring. 2 pieces that are 6 inches wide by 8.5. And you want your 6 stacking photo mats that are 6 inches wide by 4.5. So let's get our scoreboard. Now, the traditional way that I've always used my scoreboard is with the lines at the top. But Jennifer, that's on the Country Craft Design team, has been using it sideways, and a lot of the ladies say they have it, that it's a lot easier. So I'm going to give it a whirl this way. So that means your measurements are on your left, and I don't want to do this to confuse you, but it might be something you want to try. So this piece that's the left inside base, there is no scoring. Put that aside. So let's take our closure pieces, which are 6 wide by 8.5. And we're going to score those at, on the 8.5 inch side, at a 1/2 inch and 1. So that means I'm putting my 8.5 here where these measurements are, because your lines are going this way. So I'll take my scoring tool, and like I said, I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch. Get a good score in there, 1/2 inch, and at 1 inch. Don't know if I can score this way. Okay, 1/2 inch and 1 inch. I kind of got off right there, but it's okay. I can rub that out. Let me move this up. You just, with Artisan, you just rub it out. So what that gives us is a 1/2 inch, 2 1/2 inch spaces for attaching this into our book. So take the other one in the exact same way. Put your 8 3/4 along your measurements so that your score lines go to the side. So we'll do a 1/2 inch and the 1 inch. I'm going to go ahead and fold and burnish these. I fold the one to the inside first and then the one to the outside. So you just fold and burnish. And now I'm off camera here. Let me do it up here like this and like this. This will make your closure piece. Now, go ahead and fold these. Inside one first, then the outer one. I'm going to do the corners on these with my chomper. I'm going to use the scallop side. Open up the wings if you're using this. Place the corner in, make sure it goes all the way in. Both sides have got to be flush up against those wings. Make sure your wings are open and chomp. Just squeeze the handles. So that kind of gives me a decorative corner there. This side. Punch. Okay. You will notice on mine that it has no plate here that holds the clippings in because they always get jammed in there. If they're jammed in there and you don't keep it clean, you can have crooked punch. It's not lined up right. So you've always got to keep that clean. Well, I didn't like the doors on there because it just keeps it in there. It builds up and builds up and builds up. So I took them off. So every time I use it, it's off and I just shake it into my trash so I don't have any buildup in there. Okay, so there's your top one. Next, we're going to score our 6 stacking photo mats. So I'm going to show you 3 and then I'll assemble them and then I'll do the others off camera. So you're going to have 2 sets of 3. You cut 6 of these and they are 6 inches wide by 4.5 tall. You're going to put your 4.5 in to your scoreboard along the measuring side so that your lines go across. Score at 1/2 inch on all of them. I'm just doing 3 now. You will do this on all 6. Score it. This gives you your hinge across the long ways like that. Now grab your mat. You want to make sure that you burnish, fold and burnish these really well to get them all flat. You take one and turn it so that your hinge is facing down. It's folded and facing down. Take the second one, put glue on the back side of your hinge on this 1/2 inch part. On this part here, see how it's folded over? This is the back side. You're going to stack these together so that they're even on the ends and the bottom. I'm just going to push this down and line this up. So make sure they stay lined up before you burnish, and burnish it down, open it up, and burnish on the inside. You have 2 together. You need to add 1 more. It's lined up, then I just push in there and squeeze it together. So we have 3 together, like this. This is one set. You have 1, 2, 3 photo mats all stuck together, and you have a 1/2 inch left on the back to put it into your album or your folio. So I'm going to do the other 6 off camera. So we're going to assemble this off a base before we put it in our book. So this is your left inside base. That's 6 inches wide by 7.5 tall. And we're going to take our closure pieces that we made. These are 2 that are 6 wide by 8.5 tall, but we scored them so that we have 2 1/2 inch sections here. So you're going to attach this so that we have a 1/2 inch stand up gusset. So I want you to flatten it down. This is the top one. Flatten it down so that you just see this 1/2 inch right here. Put your glue here on the back. You're going to take the top. It doesn't matter at this point. I'm going to line it up, push it up here into my scoreboard so that it's squared up. With that flap folded down, just push this in and line them up and burnish. Open it up, burnish inside. So then when you realign it, you're going to have that 1/2 inch, just like that, kind of a box side. Now we're going to turn this, line this back up again. We're going to put the bottom one on the exact same way. So you have your folded like that. Flatten it down for now so that you can just see your outer 1/2 inch. Put your glue on the back side of this. Bring it to your piece. Attach it down by lining it up against nice and flush here on the sides. Press it in and burnish that. So then you realign that up so you have your space down here at the bottom. So we have a bottom and a top closure piece like that. So it looks like a full page. Has the decorative corners. So now we're going to turn it and open it up. And I'm going to go ahead and erase this here on the inside, because I know what it is now. Erase it on this. You don't have to erase it. The paper's going to cover it up, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. So grab one of your pieces here. These are going to go in top and bottom. So one's going to go in the top and one is going to go in the bottom, and they are going to overlap. Now pay attention. You only want it to go over this first 1/2 inch, not over the one that's going to make the space. See, like if you hold it up, it's going to be like that. So turn this over, your 1/2 inch here on the back, add your glue. I use glue because it gives me just a little bit of wiggle room. If you prefer score tape, you can do that. Score tape, if you get it in crooked, you can use undo to get it undone and redo it. Lift this up. I need to wipe some glue off. And I'm going to burnish that. With glue, you have wiggle room to reposition if you need to, but you cannot take it off with undo. Undo only works with tapes. So there's that first one in. Still have this 1/2 inch so that when it folds, it's not going to be hindered by that. So I'm going to turn this around so I can see it better this way. And this is going to go in here at the bottom. Again, make sure you leave this 1/2 inch free. And it's going to go in like this. So you want the folds towards the closures. You want your openings in the middle. So glue here. Okay, put it down. The fold is here to the score line of the fold here. Make sure they're lined up best we can here, both sides. I'm going to open it up gently and Wipe that out and then burnish. Make sure it's in there right. Come over just a little bit here on the bottom and gently lift up. Well, I've still got the wet glue pretty much, and just scooch it over just a tiny bit right there. Okay, hopefully I still have enough glue left on there. I think I do. So I'll burnish that in. Now then, what you do is you open these up, you put one down, the bottom one, the top one, the bottom one, the top one, the bottom one, and a top one. So they kind of overlap. Bring up your bottom, your closure, and this is how it's going to go in the book, just like that. So let's grab our book. Move my mat so that I can lay out my book flat. So we have, and just look at it and see which one I like best. This is really the top here. Okay, so this is the left side. This should fit right in here. I'm going to turn it and look it over. It's about 1/8 of an inch, maybe, from the edge. Not 1/8 inch, 1/16 of an inch, sorry, from the top and the bottom. So you just have a very narrow little gap right here. It doesn't sit flush. It comes in a little bit. And from side to side, I'm going to make sure it's not into the fold here. And so about the same. So now, turn this over, and we're going to put glue on this back side. To line it up. I've already looked at it and checked to see where it should go. Get it on as straight as I can. I haven't pressed anything down yet. Check that side there. I'm going to open it all up. Get in here and burnish. Now we will add pattern paper in here to cover all this up. And down, 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 and in. There you go. So we'll use a magnet to hold this, but that's the left side of our folio. And now we're ready to assemble for the right side. So we have our pieces for the right side of our folio. So we're going to start off with, just like we did the other one piece that is for the inside base, 6 inches wide by 7.5 tall. Then you will need 2 outer main flaps that are 7 inches wide by 7.5 tall. You need top and bottom pocket flaps that are 6 inches wide by 5.5 tall. You need 2 side flaps that are 7 inches wide by 7.5 tall. 2 add-on flaps that are 5 inches wide by 7.5 tall. And this is the same size, but it's for a box pocket, 7.5 wide by 5 inches tall. So let's get the scoreboard and we'll get to scoring on everything. So the sideways scoring of the board seemed to work out pretty good. It makes it easier with the 1/2 inch. I just have to make sure that I'm staying in my groove. Okay, so put that in. Again, the right inside base, no scoring. Set that aside. Take your outer main flaps, the 7 inch wide by 7.5 tall, and we're going to score. Double check my notes. The 7 inch outer main flaps, the 7 inch side at 1/2 and at 1.5. So here's our 7 inch along the measuring part. That's where you have all the different increments and the notches for your lines. This is just your other measurement this way on the sides. So 7" in, score it 1/2 inch and 1.5. That's going to give us a 1 inch gap, and I slipped again. Rub that out a little bit. Okay. So we have a 1/2 inch and then a 1 inch space. So your score lines are 1/2 inch and 1.5. You do the other one the exact same way. Put your 7" in. So like if you're doing it from the top, turn the other way, you would put 7" at the top. If you're scoring sideways, you put 7" on the left here. So we score it 1/2 inch. And 1.5. Okay, set those aside. Take your top and bottom pocket flaps that are 6 inches wide by 5.5 tall. Top and bottom flaps, you're going to score your 5.5 inch side. This. Your 5.5 inch side, you're going to score it 1/2 inch. And at, let's say 1 inch, 1/2 inch and 1 inch. So that gives us 2 1/2 inch spaces. We scored at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. Do the same on the other one. Put your 5.5 in, score it 1/2 inch and at 1 inch. Okay, put those aside. We have 2 side flaps that are 7 inches wide by 7.5 inches tall. We're going to score the 7 inch side at 1/2 and 1. So 1/2 inch and 1. 7 inch side, score it 1/2 inch and 1 inch. Then we have 2 add-on flaps that are 5 inches wide by 7.5 tall, and we're going to score the 5 inch side at just 1/2 inch. So these are add-on flaps just at 1/2 inch on your 5 inch side. Score it 1/2 inch on both of them. Last piece to be scored is our box pocket, which is 7.5 wide by 5 inches tall. So we're going to put the 5 inch side in first. We're going to score at 1/2 inch. Whoops. And 3/4. It's going to give us a 1/4 inch space for the box. I want you to pick it up and turn it so that your 7.5 is in along the measurements here for the scoring. Score at 1/2 inch and 3/4. Turn it. So the other end is down here. This is your 7.5 inch this way. Score at 1/2 inch, 3/4. Okay, that's going to give you that notch in there. This one here needs to be scored just a little more right here. Okay. So we're going to end up with a 1/4 inch when we assemble this pocket. So let me move this out of the way for now. Let's do some burnishing, folding and burnishing. So we take our two main flaps and we're going to fold in the inside one first and then the outer one. This just makes it easier. You just fold that wider one and then this one. So you're going to have this wide space like that. Okay. I'm going to do both of those the same. I need to rub out some here. So we fold the inside first and then the other. So that gives us those flaps like that. Lay those right there. Grab the two top and bottom pocket flaps, and these I'm going to punch the corners, the bottom corners, the two corners opposite of the score lines. So you make sure you open those wings. See how they close up when you store it? Then you pull them down all the way. Put it in, make sure they're flush on both edges, and just punch that. And also remember, you've got to keep it cleared out of all the clippings, or it's just going to get jammed up in there and it will not punch correct. Okay, so now we're going to fold these. I'm going to fold my inside one first and then my outer one. Inside first and then the outer one. Okay, so there's the flaps for the box pocket that gives this folio its name. Then I take the two pieces that are called side flaps, and you're going to fold the inner one first, then the outer one. Oops. And I bent that one crooked. There you go. Straighten that one out. Okay, there we go. Inner one first. It slipped when I folded it. And the outer one. Okay. Just making sure it's okay. Kind of wrinkledy there, but it should fit in there okay. So that's our two side flaps. They go together like that. Then we want add-ons. So these are 5 wide by 7.5 tall. They just have one score line. Okay, so now for the pocket, the box pocket. You'll notice here you have these corners. You want to cut out the whole corner along the score line. So this one to the inside, up to the other one that's on the inside. So you're just cutting away all these corner score lines on both sides. Can't see the score line very good. Here we go. Okay, so we cut those out. Then I want you to angle cut just the 1/2 inch section. So from this line, just a slight angle, not a whole deep one. Turn it from the score line, the outer score line. You're just cutting in the 1/2 inch space. You don't want to cut into that 1/4 inch space at all. Okay. Let me see, hold it up so you can see it. You see the score lines? So you cut an angle in this 1/2 inch section on both sides, but you don't cut an angle in your 1/4 inch. And then, since this is a pocket, I'm going to go ahead and angle cut just a little bit in the 1/2 inch here at the top. Okay, now we're ready to turn this into a box. And it will be the last thing we put in our book, but I'm going to go ahead and make it. So turn it so I can fold the inner ones first and burnish them. Now fold the outer one and burnish. What this is going to make is a 1/4 inch deep box pocket. So now we realign it so that you have a 1/4 inch on all 3 sides. Now we want to glue these together. So I'm going to put glue on the corners, just the 1/2 inch corners of this bottom flap here. Glue going here, right there, right there. That's probably a little bit more than I needed, but excuse me. So go ahead and line it up. You want to keep your 1/4 inch square. So I'm going to take my bone folder here. I'm going to lay it in here to give it something to. My bone folder is thick enough that it can do that, and it's Teflon. I can wrap glue off of it. So I'm going to line it up right here and hold that down so that it dries. It's a little tricky, but just want to make sure you give it some support underneath there. And you want to line up that corner really good so you minimize any gap you might have. Pushing them together really good. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry really good before I fold anymore. But that is the box pocket, so that's how it's going to look. It's got that little bit of space in there. I'll push these together. Now we're going to set this aside. As I said, this is going to be the last thing that goes in our book. So let's take our right inside base, which is your 6 inch by 7.5 tall, and it doesn't have any score lines. And then pull out your outer main flaps. These are the ones that are 7 wide by 7.5 tall that have the widest space here. So it has a 1 inch, should be a 1 inch space. Should have a 1/2 inch for the hinge to attach, and then 1 inch right there. So we actually scored it at 1.5. So we're going to take this, and they're going to attach to the back side. So I'm going to flatten this down. So we have just this 1/2 inch showing right now. Then we're going to open it up, and we're going to put our glue just on this inside 1/2 inch piece. Just like that. Let me move this up so we make sure we can still see in the camera. So we have the fold, the inch one here with the fold. You just put glue on this outer 1/2 inch. Then bring your piece in, your base piece, and you're going to line it up along the fold. Make sure it's straight on the ends. To fold this over and burnish. Make sure that it was flush up against that fold line. Open it up so that you can burnish right in here. So it should be attached, and you still have this fold line here with the 1 inch. So we're going to do this other side the same way. Take your piece. You've got your fold here. We're going to open this up. Make sure we're doing this right. So this is this piece here. Just the flap. So this is our base. Make sure you pay attention. That's why I like to have it labeled. So we have the right inside base, and we're going to push this in and glue it here. Actually, I'm going to turn it over because I've got it upside down. So turn it over, and you're going to glue here on the back side. So you want to put it on the back. You get the glue on the inside. Hope I haven't confused you. Of your 1/2 inch section. You got your fold and your 1/2 inch on the outer edge. Bring the back side facing up of your base piece. You already got a fold over here on this one, or flat rather. Push it up to that 1/2 inch score line. Line them up really good, top and bottom, side to side. You want it straight. Fold this over and burnish. So what we have is our attached to the back. When we flip this over and realign it, we have a 1 inch on each side, like that. Just like a box. That makes sense? Scoot over here. I kind of got out of the way here. So the next thing we're going to put in, this pocket is going to go in here, but we're not going to attach it yet. But we do want the pocket flaps. So we have top and bottom pocket flaps that have these scalloped corners. And this is going to go also to the outside. We're going to attach it to the outer back. So this is the top. You're going to flip it so that you're putting glue on the inside in the first 1/2 inch only. Right there. And then we're going to line this up. Should fit right in between, hope my head's not in the way, the score lines, right up against the fold. Flatten it down so you can see it. If you're using glue, line it up and burnish. Some glue there. Okay. And the bottom, I'm going to turn it over so I can do it better from the bottom side. Again, this would be your finished side with it down. You open it up so that you have your first 1/2 inch hinge. Put your glue on the inside. Slip it to the outside edge here. Line them up. Flatten it down so that fold fits right on it. Kind of line up your twos down here at the bottom. Burnish that. And then we reposition these so you have a 1/2 inch gussets here, and you have the 1 inch for the outside right there. So that's how it looks so far. Okay. All right, so let's open it back up. We're going to open it completely up. All 4 corners, sides out. Now we want our side flaps. And they're going to go to the inside here. So we have 2 1/2 inch. The outer one is your flap that attaches or hinge, and the other one is your stand up. Maybe that's what I should call them. So you're going to have one on the right and one on the left. Now it's going to attach to the inside here. You do not want it in your space or your stand-up space. Keep it out of this 1 inch. So right here is where it's going to go, like this, with your inside 1/2 inch folded back. So you put your glue here. So there's your hinge, cut edge, fold it down, put the fold along the fold line of this 1 inch space here. Let's burnish it down. It should fit in there pretty perfectly. If you got your cutting right, open it up, burnish it in here, and then when we stand it up, we'll have a 1/2 inch stand. Like that. So fold it back down. We're going to do the left side the same way. It's going to stand in here. So we're going to flatten this. This is my one that I did a little crooked, so I hope it will work okay. So you want your 1/2 inch hinge. So you put your glue on this 1/2 inch. You're going to fold it so that the fold goes along the fold line, leaving this 1 inch piece free and clear. Nothing goes in there. Line these up. Get right in there, okay? Burnish this down, wipe up any excess glue you might have. Okay. And then when you stand these back up, I'm going to have this inner piece here, and this can drop back in where it belongs. So this goes on the inside. These come down over it like this. Okay, so now we have our add-on flaps. These are the two that are 5 wide by 7.5 tall, but they only have this 1/2 inch. Now this, I want the first one to go on the cut edge of the top flap. So pay attention to that. So I'm going to open this up and I'm going to put my glue in my 1/2 inch flap hinge piece. Show you. This is the inside, so it folds like that. So there's the glue. I'm going to open this one up and I'm going to line this flap along the cut edge of this flap so that they're nice and straight all the way in. Both sides are straight. Burnish this down. So it's going on the back side of that flap. And it opens this way. Okay, open this back. This flap here, I want it to open here on the cut side edge. So I got it hinge folded down. Pull it back. On the inside, I'm putting my glue. If you mess up and you put it on the top, it's okay, as long as it's still in the same place to be folded. So, or yours could be completely different. Don't panic, okay? So line this up nice and even, top and bottom, and then we burnish it down here so it's on the back side of this flap. Okay, that goes there, that goes there. This one comes in, and this one comes in. That's how it looks now. All we have to do is add this pocket. You know what? I think I'm going to put this in before I add the pocket. I think that'll make it a little bit easier. So let's grab our book. So this is going to fit in right here. Just like that. You want to make sure that this one's opening to the inside. It's going to line up about the same as the other. Let me double check. A little closer to the edge. So we want to make sure we're not over that fold line. Okay. Same thing. Glue on this whole back side. Make sure you're putting it on the back. Make sure that this is your top here on your right. Flip it over. I'm going to let it rest down about 1/16 of an inch from the side, top, and bottom. Get it on as straight as you can. Don't press down anything. Oops. I slid. Wipe this off. Be careful with that. So let me realign it. About 1/16 of an inch from the side, the top, and the bottom. Now carefully turn it so to make sure it's not over the fold line, but it's straight. So I'll put that glue there. Okay. Then once you have it sitting where you want it, open everything up. All the way down. Okay. Here inside. And let's burnish it. So you can leave this open because we're going to put our box pocket in. I want to make sure it's squared up. The fold line's good. Oops, this one came undone. So you got to make sure it stays glued. Squared up. So I'm just going to hold it and let it glue. Okay, now you put glue on this back side on this little 1/2-inch pieces. Including the corners. Once this dries, it's going to be really strong. It's attached down. Okay, I'm going to grab it by the top and bring it in here. Now I'm going to make sure that the bottom clears this and the sides also clear the sides. So I'm going to sit down, kind of press it here, turn it, kind of reach in, use a ruler because it's flatter, and I'm going to burnish, press down, and the bottom too. Okay, that's assembled. So what happens, this comes like this. We'll probably put a magnet there or a string wrap closure. This one comes, oops, this one comes in, so it's got this little flap here. This one comes over, it has this outer flap here. This one from the inside, this one to the inside, and like that. There we go. And that's the way it looks.